You're a good woman if you can cook.
Yeah.
You're a good woman if you are, great in the kitchen, great in the bedroom. All that's performance, right?
Yeah.
But those of us who have really true intimate bonds understand it's not about the performer you. It's about the being you. That's the only way you're going to have true intimacy. That's the hardest thing to get them to tap into when you ask them, who are you? And when you ask them, what do you want? You really want. Those two questions are very difficult for high-performing women to answer. Underneath all of it, if you were to peel it, I always say, peel that banana back, what is revealed is this one question: am I enough? That's it. That is the underlying human condition question that we all wrestle with.
Welcome to yourbrilliance.com. I'm your host, Amy Waterman. And today, you are in for a treat. You're about to discover a little known truth about yourself, something you have gone your whole life without knowing. You've got a superpower. And our guest for today is going to help you discover it. Now, you might be thinking, this talk about superpowers sounds kind of childish. After all, we all know, we're just ordinary people. We don't have any magical powers. But superpowers don't have to be magical. The dictionary just defines it as a superior power that's stronger, better, and more reliable. The kind of power that's unleashed when you get in touch with your voice, your value, and your vision. Suzette Vearnon has been teaching women how to amplify their voice, value, and vision for years. She is an award-winning author, a relationship solutionist, and a coach who's passionate about inner empowerment. With her inspired music math approach to relating, she's going to teach us how to discover our superpower to put great back into love and life. Welcome, Suzette.
Oh, it's so great to be here, Amy. Oh my God, I've been excited about talking with you.
Well, I love this topic because, let me be honest, none of us think we've got superpowers. Maybe we've got the superpower to make everybody in our lives happy. So what is this? What's this incredible power we've got inside us?
Well, first of all, everybody has it. Everybody. And I first discovered mine at the age of 7 years old. Up until then, I thought I was like everybody else, a little girl playing whatever, until I heard my sister practicing scales on our antique white piano at home. And something about that just caught my ear. And I kind of snuck in, how little sisters can do. And I put my finger up on the white keys as she was practicing, and I was hooked. And of course, she got really angry and she stormed off because I was, interrupting her. But I hopped on the piano and I started playing with one finger. And what I discovered was that the songs that I heard in my head or the songs that were on the radio, I could play it with one finger without even having to know that much about the piano or anything like that. I knew how to do it. Now, you might think, oh, okay, well, of course that's a superpower, right? You thought, oh, I can do something nobody else can do. But the superpower for me was, I thought if I could do it, everybody could do it. And so, being the wonderful, heart-centered sister that I was, I grabbed my baby sister and said, sit beside me, let me show you what I can do. And I placed her hands on the piano, and I'd play, and I'd coach her to play. And this is at 7 years old. And even though she wasn't as excited about it as me, she discovered she had the same ability. And so I grew up from a young child to now an adult woman with the belief that all of us have the hidden ability inside of ourselves to transform our lives. All we need is for someone to show us that we have it. So yes, Everyone has a superpower.
That is fantastic. So you've developed this music math approach. So we've heard about the music. Where does the math come in?
Well, the math really is supposed to serve the music. And I think as high performing, success driven, dream driven women, we we are so used to the math being the leader, where the music, which is the vision, it's the dream, it's your heart song. That is supposed to be the leader, and math is supposed to be the doer. It executes the will of the music. So your math is your process. It's your behaving your way. It's your action. So when you have music, the visionary, and math, the processor, working in collaboration, you have great love, you have great life.
So I want to talk about the voice, the value, and the vision, because this seems to be what the music math is working to uncover.
Yes, yes, to amplify. To amplify. Because for many of us, Amy, like I said, when we're high performing women, we've been rated and judged by our ability to perform, right?
Yeah.
If you perform well in school, you get A's. If you perform well in sports, you get awarded, right? So we are in a culture where performance is king. But what ends up happening many times is when we don't know who we really are, we don't have a sense of that. We don't have a sense of that our dream might not be what our mom and our dad wanted for us, or what was taught would make us somebody. If we're not in tune with that, then we're working that math. We're going hard. We're performing, but we're performing for somebody else. And eventually that's going to catch up with us in some way, shape, and form. And more than not, where it really catches up with us is in our relationships. In our relationships, you cannot bring the performer. Well, could bring the performer to a relationship because many of us have been socialized. You're a good woman if you can cook.
Yeah.
You're a good woman if you are, great in the kitchen, great in the bedroom. All that's performance, right?
Yeah.
But those of us who have really true intimate bonds understand it's not about the performer you, it's about the being you. That's the only way you're going to have true intimacy, is two beings coming together. That's why the music is so important, because the music is your being. It's the song coming out of the truest part of you. And that's why even in my coaching high performing women, that's the hardest thing to get them to tap into when you ask them, who are you? And when you ask them, what do you want? You really want. Those two questions are very difficult for high performing women to answer.
So what I'm thinking of is, without the music, you can't have the dance.
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't. You're not singing your song.
Yeah. So I want to talk about this amazing story of yours. You got married at 55 to a remarkable man.
Yes.
And you made this extraordinary decision. You said, I am not going to change who I am for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to read this passage from your website because it's gobsmacking to me. It's just beautiful. It goes like this. With this realization came a startling revelation. I didn't know how to be myself. All I had ever seen or known was women accommodating men. You see, I was taught that love equals performance. So it was difficult for me to grasp that a man could love me without my attempts to accommodate him. I needed help. I hired a coach. It was a painstaking process, but in time I found my rhythm. I discovered my superpower wasn't in what I did. It was in who I was.
That's why it is so key that we take the time. We go to school to study about everything else but who we are. We learn science, we learn math, we learn our careers, but there needs to be a school that helps us to really get down to who we are. And also to let us know that that person is enough. That person is enough. And I've discovered anytime I feel insecure or I come upon people where you kind of start hearing them subtly putting themselves down or comparing themselves or that kind of thing, underneath all of it, if you were to peel it, I always say, peel that banana back, what is revealed is this one question: am I enough? That's it. That is the underlying human condition question that we all wrestle with. Am I enough? And what's so interesting about it is our superpower is usually something that we're very good at. That we don't have to, just like me with the piano, playing by ear. No one had to teach me that. And so as I was going through life and I would perform, I started thinking, well, you know, when people would say, oh, you're great at that, or oh, that's so wonderful, because it came so easy to me, I kind of minimized it. And
Yes.
our superpower is like our gift. It comes so easy to us that we minimize it. Other people are like, wow, you can do that, or they seek you out for it. But we think, oh, that's not anything because I didn't have to work for it.
Yeah.
And in our relationships, the true relationships is we want to be seen for who we really are. That doesn't take you working for it. It just takes you acknowledging it, discovering it, seeing it through different eyes, understanding that's what makes you unique. That's what makes Mr. Right perk up and say, ah, that one. It's when we're being fully ourselves. When we're trying to perform and all that, we attract men who are drawn to performance,
Yeah.
who want their egos stroked, who want you to be their trophy, who want you to cook, clean, all these different things, who will judge you by your performance. But that's an awful way to live. It's a terrible thing. And I've been married twice before I met my soulmate. And I have to say, in the first two marriages, I was married to someone who expected me to perform. And if I did not perform in the way that he thought I should, then there was some retaliation, whether it was the silent treatment or some kind of tear at my esteem. And I had to live with feeling like I had to prove to him that I was enough for him to love me. You know? And so that's why I feel such a calling to women who are high performers, because I am. And I understand what we think, and I understand what drives us, and I understand that soft underbelly, that we really want to be loved. We just don't know how to get it, and we don't know how to recognize it when it shows up.
So I want to ask you about this concept you have called empowered relating. And that's I-N dash powered, not empowered.
Yes.
What is that about?
You know, I had been hearing empowerment. And most of the time when I would go into places where people were going to be empowered, they were waiting for somebody to validate them. They were waiting for somebody to say, I give you permission to be powerful in this way. So I am empowering you. I am bestowing something upon you. But I-N dash empowerment means I'm only acknowledging what's already in you. I'm helping you to see that the power is in you. And it's so necessary, because when you discover your I-N power, then you don't have to ask permission to be brilliant. You don't have to ask permission, should I do this or should I do that? Because it comes from within, it resonates. right? But when somebody's bestowing something on you, then you got to keep going back for more because you're going to keep forgetting. I need you to remind me I'm powerful. I need you to, because I'm waiting for you to spoon feed me. I'm waiting for you to give me something that I don't feel like I have. But when you're empowered, you have come to, I'm going to help you to discover it, but it's already in you. And then you don't need me to continue to feed it because it already is feeding itself in you. It's just waiting for an outlet. That's why I decided to change that from empowerment to empowerment because it's inner power.
So what can we do? Like, what is one step? Somebody watching is saying, I want to know my superpower. I want to know who I am. And I want to feel that power. I want to feel that I'm enough. What's one thing that somebody could do right now?
The one thing that I would say for someone who wants to tap into that inner power is to get still. And I know that sounds simple, but for us mover and shaker women, we are busy all the time. Busy doing this, busy doing that, busy running after our dream, busy networking. You know, we're always busy. And I think for some of us, because our negative thinking fuels our busyness, we don't want to get still. We don't want to get quiet because those negative voices in our head will make us second guess ourselves. But there's a difference in getting still and being quiet. There's a difference. Stillness is centering yourself. And I have found, because I'm not really that great with yoga, I'm trying to become great with yoga, Amy, but I'm not great with yoga because my mind is always thinking about the things I can be doing. But guided meditation helps me. Mantras that say you're powerful, you're enough, you're eternal. You can't make a bad decision. You know, those kind of mantras that remind you of who you are. If I get in stillness and I get somebody like Deepak, you know, with that music, and they are speaking life to me, that stills me. You know, it helps me to zone out of my head and sink down into my being. And it's in stillness that you really can really hear those words soak deep down and wake up that power that's just waiting. Someone calls it an inner confidence, an inner knowing, a steady state, because a lot of us are looking for work, life, love balance. And I'm finding out it's kind of hard to balance the scales for that. But there is a steady state that you can have as you do these various things. You can bring harmony to those things because you're steady inside. And I would say that would be the first thing. Now, for some people, they can't do it automatically. So going to some place, whether it is yoga, whether it is a mindfulness retreat, or somewhere where they talk about meditation, guided meditation, I would say that would be a first step. Or either, you know, Googling, YouTubing.
Yeah.
You know, YouTube has a lot of wonderful stuff, you know, and so getting into that still place. And at first it's going to feel foreign. I will admit it'll feel foreign in the beginning, but it's like anything else, like a muscle. If you keep working it, you strengthen it. And it is out of that quiet. Wouldn't you agree that out of that relaxed steadiness is where most of your brilliant ideas come from?
Fantastic. So
That's
I
one of
want
the
to quickly ask you, you've got a workshop called The Enough Factor. Could you talk to us about what you teach in that?
Yes, it's called What is Your Enough Factor? And it's where we take off the lids of limitation. L period, I period, D period, S period, the lids. L, you learn. You learn the one word that will turn off Mr. Wrong and will perk the interest of Mr. Right. You identify those sabotaging behaviors, those behaviors that undermine your voice, your value, and your vision. You discover your superpower to have great love, great life. And S, which is, I think, is so very key. You shift from validation seeking, which is what we look for in our relationships, to values centered relating.
That's fantastic.
That's what happens.
Now, for those of you watching, if you want to find out about the Enough Factor workshops and learn more about Suzette and how you can work with her, we've got a link for you. Just go to yourbrilliance.org/enough. That's yourbrilliance.org/enough. Suzette, thank you so much for coming on to the show, and we're coming to the end. And I'd like to ask you if there was any last message you'd like to leave our viewers with.
This is going to sound like a pun, but it's no pun intended. You really are enough. You really are enough. All you need is just for someone to tell you why. Because we hear it all the time. You're enough. You're enough. You're enough. And you might even get that high mighty, especially after somebody has pissed you off and you start talking about and this and that, and I'm better than this and I'm better than that. But when you cool off, you can be talked out of it. Anything that you can be talked out of about yourself reveals that you don't really know you're enough in that area. And what I do is I not only tell you that you are enough, I tell you why you're enough. And I think that's the important thing, when you really understand why. That's the only missing piece for those of you that are listening, just the why. Because you really have it all, just why. If I can show you why, then you'll be straight. And so I just want to let you know that you are enough.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you out there for listening. We are so glad you joined us, and we hope to see you again soon. Until then, let your brilliance shine.